The Philippine Marines undergo a test in physical and mental capacity as they join the stress shooting drills of the Rim of the Pacific exercises in Hawaii. RJ Alavaso tells us why.
Filipino soldiers face stress firing drills together with other Marines from Chile, South Korea, and United States in the ongoing Rim of the Pacific exercises. Armed with M16 rifles, soldiers needed to knock out each target in the firing range by using the least amount of ammunition in the fastest possible time. Their training regarding gun handling, strategies, and other taught by their facilitator are tested throughout the day.
We've been hand in hand doing all of our training from military operations and urban terrain all the way to physical training, so working out. So it's really been great.
Prior to the activity, the Marine needed to perform squats and push-ups, while in the actual firing, they needed to accomplish standing, kneeling, and prone positions. Team face harder challenge with each level until the top two teams meet for the finals. According to the Philippine contingent, being able to communicate in English and about the experiences they have are advantages despite the lack of arms because of their counterparts dependent on them with instruction from the facilitators. Meanwhile, being part of the RIMPAC 18 being held in Hawaii from June 27 to August 2 became a morale booster for the Philippine Marines.
The present atmosphere of the Philippine project is high morale. We are just also, we are all provided here. We are all inspired.
UNTV is the only Philippine media to witness the actual exercises of our Marines in the Big Islands of Hawaii since yesterday. According to our soldier, they are happy for the full support of our government with this kind of opportunity. Meanwhile, the Philippine Marines will have to face new exercises such as mortar firing and other drills. RJ Alavazo, UNTV News and Rescue, Hawaii, USA.
And for the news abroad, here's Noel Poliarco live from Toronto, Canada. Good morning, Noel.
Good evening, William. Former U.S. President Barack Obama urged the world to resist cynicism over the rise of a strongman in an apparent reference to populist leaders who hold power in several countries.
Look around. Strongman politics are ascendant, suddenly, whereby elections and some pretense of democracy are maintained, the form of it, but those in power seek to undermine every institution or norm that gives democracy meaning.
During his speech in Johannesburg to mark the 100th anniversary of the birth of Nelson Mandela, Obama also warns people of the dangers of fake news.
People just make stuff up. Politicians have always lied, but it used to be if you caught them lying, they'd be like, oh man. Now they just keep on lying.
British Prime Minister Theresa May narrowly avoids a defeat in Parliament at the hands of pro-EU lawmakers from her own party on Tuesday, fending off a rebellion that threatened to worsen a crisis over her Brexit strategy. Parliament voted 307 to 301 against an amendment to trade legislation that would require the government to try to negotiate a customs union arrangement with the EU if by January 21, 2019, it had failed to negotiate a deal with the bloc that offered frictionless free trade agreement or free trade for goods. The narrow victory is May's third this week, underlining the difficulty she faces in passing legislation on one of the most divisive and important decisions in modern British history, with only a minority government and a party at war with itself. At least 13 people were killed in an ambush in Oaxaca, Mexico, while in Chile, an orange alert has been issued following a recent minor seismic activity at Chilean volcano complex. Beverly Saison tells us why.
In Mexico, More than a dozen people were killed in the Sierra of Oaxaca in southern Mexico on Tuesday over a reported decades-long land dispute with a neighboring community. According to Oaxaca's Attorney General's office, 13 people in the town of Santa Maria Ecatepec were killed by residents from the San Lucas Jicotepec community. Media reported residents from Santa Maria Ecatepec had traveled to the disputed land when they were reportedly ambushed. State police from Oaxaca have taken over responsibility for this restive region to restore law and order. Meanwhile, the Spanish humanitarian boat Open Arms rescued on Tuesday the bodies of a migrant woman and a child dead at sea lying on the wreckage of a dinghy. The non-governmental organization said the Libyan Coast Guard had rescued some 158 migrants from the deflating dinghy but left the bodies out at sea on the wreckage. A third person who had been left on the dinghy was found alive and pulled to safety by Open Arms personnel. Italy's far-right Interior Minister Matteo Salvini is leading a high-profile campaign to exclude humanitarian rescue ships from Italian ports. He argues that European countries should find a way to block the migrants before they leave Africa or send boats with asylum seekers back to the ports where they came from, including to Libya's harbors. In Chile has placed the Nevados de Chillán volcano complex on orange alert after minor seismic activity in the peaks of the volcano during recent days suggests the possibility of a major eruption. As a result, Chilean authorities have been deploying emergency officials and installed checkpoints surrounding the volcano. Although the area is largely rural, it is a popular tourist destination with luxury hotels dotting the mountainous area. Since 1861, Chillán has erupted about a dozen times. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Noel Poliarco, live from Toronto, Canada. Australian researchers have developed a blood test they billed as a world first to easily spot skin cancer. Here's why from Rheena Bascon.
Australian scientists say they have developed a blood test to detect melanoma in its early stages. The test, billed as a world first, is designed to make it easier to spot the skin cancer before it becomes fatal, according to researchers. Currently, doctors rely on skin examinations and biopsies to detect melanoma, which can spread quickly.
Well, it's the first time that autoantibodies have been used to diagnose melanoma. So that in itself is exciting because we've shown that we can do it, and that's the breakthrough. The fact that we get to 80% is very encouraging, and the next step is to get to over 90% accuracy, where we feel that at that point it will be really clinically very useful.
Researchers believe the blood test could provide more accurate results than the human eye and save many lives. Developed by scientists at Edith Cowan University, the test picks up melanoma by recognizing autoantibodies produced by the body to combat the cancer's early growth.
It's very tricky, particularly in people who have over 100 moles. How do you do a whole skin examination in 10 minutes that you have as a clinician? And so you have to pick the one that's of concern. This will provide them with an additional tool to do this at very early stages and get that tumor out.
In a trial involving about 200 people, half of whom had the cancer, the test was successful in 81.5% of cases. It will now undergo clinical trials to take place within 3 years in a bid to improve its accuracy to 90%. Researchers hope it could be approved for use within 5 years. Rheena Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Australia.
A first-ever driverless shuttle debuts in New York's Times Square. Its designer believes that riding a self-driving bus will provide an opportunity to people. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
The boxy electric bus bounced along a 150-yard section of Broadway near 48th Street on Tuesday. It is fitted with special high-tech sensors, but it has no driver at the wheel.
A lot of people do not want to be driving their car, finding a parking space, and then walking around the city. They'd like to be able to just come and go. And that's really where I think young people, really the whole country is going right now, is the opportunity to be in a driverless vehicle.
The low-speed shuttle is designed for airports, college campuses, theme parks, or downtown urban centers, anywhere that a 20-mile-an-hour or less vehicle will work for pedestrians.
Coast is trying to carve out the low-speed space. There are a lot of folks putting a lot of money into going 50 miles an hour, 60, 70, 80. That's going to be a lot harder to do. We believe that the low-speed space we'll be able to get into quickly and be able to get operational quickly as well.
The vehicle can fit up to 20 people with its seats taken out. While Coast Autonomous is just a year old, it has been working on its self-driving technology for 15 years and expects to deploy its first fleets by next year. Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue.